fast forward. And the result from each model is kind of reflecting the role and relationship of both groups. The first group is the master apprentice. It's because of students going into the village, staying with them, so they have a lot of empathies. And they, because the group would like to expand that product line, so students say, okay, why not? Okay, if they make them happy, why not? Okay, and whereas some of the students in the master apprentice group still kind of very worship and respect the traditional craft and trying to somehow modify some colors or scale proportion of the traditional craft and put them into a kind of new context of use. Whereas the second model, the co-creative, the young students collaboration with the fifth grader students from the local school here is totally coming from the young students, the Prathom students. And because of the activities that we ask them to join is more or less like geared towards those kids. Okay, and it's coming out from the kids because we ask them to draw or list out their wish list, which is their want for their birthday or new year, whatever. But these are from kids and older students. The KMUTT student would come in and help them to actualize into this kind of prototype. And the third collaboration is the designer maker, which is they want system-based kind of thinking. So they design a kind of helping tools for doing a kind of crafting to help expand the crafting audience. So, and we also having an IT promoting activities and helping the villagers with the collective smart design. And here is the conclusion. Finish very fast. Okay, so we kind of at the beginning of the project, we somehow of course Waipo, who are you? We don't know them because we are from totally different disciplines, and because of why Thailand, maybe because of we have a lot of counterfeit products. Why? So we kind of not sure of what's behind that thinking. But in the end, we kind of appreciate we learned that GI mark and the corrective mark actually can help our villagers to come up with the original product using their local heritage. Okay, and we somehow would like to study further of the depth of the cultural heritage from the intangible one to the tangible one, and when to use which one. We would like to study further into that and how to packaging those cultural heritage well and still make profit to the villagers. Thank you.
All right, the last but not least presentation by Dr. P. Iladon Gel, and he has a title of the top Asian Rural Strategies, Local Wisdom, Craft, Tourism, and Value Creation. And this paper and presentation, he worked with Dr. Tisuda and Jack. She's not here. That's you.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you all for waiting for this final paper. Also, I'd like to thank Dr. Jatong for including my paper onto this panel. First, I kind of surprised that he invited me, but now I realize why this paper would be a paper that may fit into this context. to this panel by looking at the previous presentation. This paper titles Asian Rural Strategies, Local Wisdom, Craft, Tourism, and Value Creation. This paper based on the research funded by Thailand Creative Economy Agency. It's a new organization under the Office of the Prime Minister. And this is the first research that they start off when they established this program, because under the National Development Plan, the 11th plan, the government, every government that working under this period of National Development Plan, they have to emphasize on the new economic approach, transform Thailand from industrial, not real industrial economy into a creative economy. And what they have to focus on is the value creation process. And this organization is a big umbrella organization that will look at the policy of creative economy in the country. The question of this research started off with the country's competitiveness. Right now, the World Economic Forum, they did a measure, focus on cities' competitiveness, but actually they're not really measuring the country, they might measure cities, in the scale of cities. And what they're measuring now is not the capital city, but the second city. According to the data in China, the city that runs the economic engine of China is not Shanghai, Beijing anymore. It's the second and third tier cities. And the Thailand Economic Agency also want to take this approach by looking at a smaller scale, look at the small cities or even a village scale. That maybe is another way for Thailand to first revitalize the rural areas and create value from the rural areas of Thailand, which I think we have many local assets that we haven't examined yet. Rural development and value creation, if you look at these two terms, maybe we find some distance between these two terms. But actually, rural development in the previous era, we only look at the agricultural development or the transformation of agriculture into industrial, but we haven't really looked at the value creation model and focus on the real asset of the rural areas. For example, local wisdom. We look at local wisdom like old custom, old tradition, and we really appreciate it. But have we realized that it's a local intangible asset, and there are many assets that we need to preserve or further develop. I think Ministry of Culture also looking at this issue as well. Also, rural environment, rural landscape is actually a local tangible asset. If we really know how to use it, really know how to create value out of existing environment and landscape, then we can maybe find a model for rural development. And on this research, we looking at many small city and villages across the globe, and we found 10 small villages and cities that we focus on. Sorry, some of the text is in Thai, but some English. I just want to show this as the example of the case study. First, we have the city of Udine from Switzerland, Orbidos from Portugal, Yifui from Japan, Oyama from Japan, Terenzini from Hungary, Rico from Ecuador, Latlo from the UK, Batu from India, Yingyu from Taiwan, and Hui Batrang from Vietnam. This is the 10 case studies, and this graphic is just to show you the analysis that we did. I won't go into detail. This is the first of Yifui in Japan. This is the data that we collect from the research report and also the local organization. And we look at the whole timeline of development of the city itself. And we look at the size of the city, population. First, we have to look at the tangible and intangible asset. that they have. They have many natural environment or even some of the food menu, local food menu. Also the intangible, they have in marketing for tourism that they have been developed for quite some time, and local traditions. If we look at the assets first, and then we look at the stakeholders across time from many years ago till now, how they work together, how they start off project together, and also we map out the relationship between them and see what kind of activities, what kind of value creation model and processes that they start on the rural areas. And finally, we discovered that when we start looking at one small city, we can have, at least for this one, we have 5 value creation model out of this one small village, one small city. This is the process that we use for the 10 cases that we have. And now I'd like to go to the findings of these case studies. First, we discover value creation models in rural development. First, what they have in common is they, most of these cities, they defining goals by using external data and demand. That means they not focus on themselves alone, but they look at the outer perspective. They're using external demand and trends to help formulate the development plan. The next one is they looking at local assets as a basis for strategic repositioning. Not look at the asset as something to preserve alone, but how could you create value of your asset and repositioning itself. When we first, the city was an agricultural city, but how can they develop into agricultural tourism city? The third one is repositioning the agricultural village to ecotourism destination, defining specific target group and even target the target group from outside the country. Another one is to attract creative workers into the city itself. For example, I think the question of how to develop the rural area, first, how could you retain the next generation? Because in many cities, in rural areas, there are many old people, right? Because young people move into capital cities to work. I think, for example, in Japan, they have special programs that help retain new generation and have them realize that what they have here is a lot of benefit and business, good business, if they stay in their area and then doing some business, local businesses. Attracting creative workers is another way to report, the younger generations and people with new skill. For example, in Thailand, in Chiang Mai, I think is another city that attracts new workers, new creative workers into the city, and also this could be a new kind of workforce that help develop the area of the cities. The second model is the creation of networks and value creation chain, because sometimes the asset that the rural area have right now is not in the value chain yet. And the first thing maybe is to create networks and to build the value creation chain for that area. First one, to create network value creation chain among nearby villages, because for the scale of the village, maybe it's too small to create a value chain. To examine the area and see if the nearby villages have similar kind of asset, then you can pull this asset together and then it will become the strength of that area. The second one is to stimulate value creation through the building of production chain. You have to look at the raw materials, building local brands, so and so. For example, Oyama Japan, they're really using their raw material, the local raw materials, and also building a production chain into the farm. The third one is to develop the value creation chain from for example, raw materials, also bring it to a different level to customer experience. Third one is to adopt external knowledge and innovation. We see this sample from many countries in Europe. Some cities apply new technology to improve asset development because only the local asset alone is not enough. You have to import the technology. The second one is to allow outsiders to understand protection of local assets. This is made of the core problem, which is people who live in rural areas. They don't know the value of their asset because they live with their asset for quite some time. Sometimes they need people from outside to look at it to see the potential and even to take on the value creation process. The third one is the private business owner in the village have introduced value creation, development ideas from outside, bring in ideas, bring in model from outside. That's the model. Next is the value creation process. And for the process, the partnership model is the one that happened a lot in many case studies. For example, first they allow the outside private sector to who have more experience in the development and then come in and then co-create the development of the areas using local assets. The second one is to invite external experts to help use new development and knowledge and management system. For example, the case study of Baku, India. Baku is quite famous for fabric printing, and there are many designers and businessmen from outside who go into the area and then go inside and help the local people to develop the products. The third one is the government and local administration make policy and plan and implement strategies. Right now, policy and plan will be only look at the big cities, but not really focus on the small areas or villages. That, for example, in Vietnam, Phu My and Bac Rang, I think they really have a policy from the central government to help implement their villages as craft village. The fourth one is to collaborate with the regional municipality tourism authority that will help also in the case of Oviedo in Portugal. The second value creation process is to use technological support and preparation of operational structure and facilities. First, to create a network collaboration platform that different groups could come together and work. For example, in Taiwan, it's the city of ceramics work. They build a museum, not just a museum. Museum became a platform for local artists, the experts from outside, the people from central government to work together and then bring Yinggu to one of the important ceramic cities in the world. The second one is the government, they have to provide small capital and technology, and that could help put the local farmers up to speed. The third one is the local chamber of commerce and private sector and community collaborate to develop planning, both value creation chain and market strategy. And in many cities, the kind of work that has been done is actually not done by the local authority or people. It's has to be kind of work that people work together. Okay, we have 1 minute. We all should have 1 hour presentation.
Yeah.
Right? sometimes you find many stories in the villages, right? But who would write them down, right? Because local people would love to tell stories and pass on to the next generation, but someone has to write them down, right? And this is the first step. The second one, introduce a new concept and production process into the region and can change their attitude towards what they have been done. The third one, using external consultants such as educational institutions, university, to help them guide the development. Okay. The creative economy and the rural development, these two could go together. And but there are three main points. The first important, the most important one is the asset, tangible, intangible. We need to search, identify, classify, and evaluate the potential of asset, and that is the first step, and is a lot of work, and local people cannot do it alone. The second one is capitals and resources, structural capitals, support infrastructure that enable value creation process. Human capital, maybe they need people from outside, expert. Social capital, some kind of network, it could be individual and groups. Cultural capitals, activities that are linked to local lifestyle, as in everyday creativity, everyday life. That's the capitals and resources. The third one is the value creation chain. We have to go in there and see if there are any value chains already built into the village, or if it's not, or it's not functional, then we can help them reconstruct and look at the potential of the value creation chain. And at the end, we may have to design and planning new value creation chain in the area. Okay, these 3 points would be the step if we have to really do something with rural areas in Thailand. Okay, thank you very much.
So, since we didn't have the question for this one, so when we have finished that, we will also we actually we about 10 minutes late, but that's okay.
So anyone can ask for them and they can answer.
So I think it's not too heavy, but I will remind you again the point of the last presentation that we need to make this discussion together is because it's all linked to the heritage, not directly to the conservation itself. We are talking about heritage management. We're trying to do the problematization of the heritage management, the values, and also the cultural tourism problems to identify the real problems with it. The second point, we are talking about heritage interpretation in the digital age. Do we have any approach, do we have any tools to develop, to link heritage management with cultural tourism and so on? And the third point is about the craft, but it's not really about the craft itself, it's about intangible heritage, which is about the continuity of the knowledge. And the fourth point, really very important, because UNCTAD, UNCTAD right in CCAD, UNCTAD already put in report years ago that heritage is a very important at the center of the creative economy. And in general, we said it's maybe already a little too much, or maybe it's too much that it's not creative anymore. What's happened? And in China, we are actually right now looking at Kinara. It's well heritage, it's very creative. The tourists love them. We are trying to copy Kinara again. So all of these 4 papers is totally linked in the heritage management issue. So the floor is now open. 1 or 2 questions will be very valuable. We are trying to look at the environment to look forward. Are there any?
Here we go.
Luckily, today we will not have Dr. Pinwat Kanchananati, the Vice President of ICMOS Thailand, to conclude and wrap up the session. So we have some more time to discuss all together and in all work to conclude conclude ourselves, and the conclusion from Dr. Pinrat will be later in the proceeding. So we have some more time. Please continue.
So that's going to be just the last 4 papers from yesterday and today as well. I think it's all linked somehow, but well, yesterday.
Sorry, so that's me asking the first question. I hope you're on board. I know everybody is tired, and it was fantastic last session, digital management, all about futuristic things. And I have actually questions for everyone. I'll start with the first. Okay. And it's again, it's not a question, it's just, you started with the sentences when you ask the local people I won't say problem, because problem is not the right word actually. There is no problem anywhere. I mean, everybody is happy. It's be expert to try to figure out the problem and say, oh, this is the problem. I think you have to change that word. But whatever. Challenge, issues, something like that. Maybe even a better word. But you started with, when you asked the local Sotakai and they said, yeah, peaceful, they're happy, absolutely no problem. So where is the problem? Like, why all this happened? Can you not just leave them and...
No, they don't trust you at the beginning. So
oh, okay.
They don't
So
trust you at the
what's
beginning,
there now.
and they don't think that it's worth. They don't think it's worth to discuss this. Because in the end, I learned that there are actually problems, but there are too many. For them to raise just one is not enough. You need to spend some time with them. But they think that, okay, you're some expert, some professional, from outside, who's there, who's like, what, one day? It's not worth talking. So
yeah, thank you for making it very clear, because I was thinking all the way through that if there was no problem, then why to find a problem for the sake of finding one? So thank you very much for that. Second one, there's a second presenter. That's very interesting because I don't know whether you have come across a PhD thesis, and I'm sure it's under a long time, by a person who was my colleague in National University of Singapore. And he was doing a similar thing, I cannot remember, a very big title. The person's name is Hafizur Rahman, who was from Bangladesh University in Khulna, if I remember correctly. And I can send you his name and probably the link. It was very related because we were colleagues, so I was interacting with him, and he was doing one of the biggest monastery there in Bangladesh. It's about heritage site. So he was working on it, reconstructing but just to add, because I like the drawings and the 3D visuals, because I'm not a digital person, but I like to see that. It was very, very nicely done and everything, but it was for people who have got the technology available. You know, you said it needs fast computer, fast internet. So people in Singapore can use it. People, I don't know Thailand how fast is the computer. Malaysia is not. So it's for the limited people. Are you intending to do it it's not my idea, it's Hafizur's idea. What he proposed was, because nowadays most of the people, even the poorest of the poorest, have got a smartphone which can take pictures. Not very smart, not iPhone 6, I'm not talking about iPhone 6 or Samsung Note, but a phone which can take picture. What he was suggesting, if I remember correctly, and you are the person who has done it, is he's going to design something like a barcode of scanning thing. And people, without a computer, without a fancy laptop or iPad and all, they can take a picture, and then that bar can connect them with the, so without having, and then similar thing will happen, but on their phone. So they don't need an iPad or an internet connection for that. So everybody can know the history, everybody can see the reconstruction, and if they want more and more information, yes, of course they have to go back to the internet and download and do that. That's for researchers. I think for the tourists and if they are getting a here is got a camera, just take the temperature, and then it can link you to the reconstruction and things like that. So that might be next thing if you want to do.
Well, actually, right now, what you call it, what you speak of is technology